how it can be used in fiction. First, I'm going to talk about basically what linguistics is. So, essentially, linguistics is the scientific study of language. Linguistic study, among many other topics, meanings and sounds. Linguistics can be used for many things, such as helping people who have suffered strokes, developing voice recognition technology, studying how languages change over time, and my topic, how it can be used in fiction. Phonetics and linguistics has several subtopics. Phonetics is the study of speech sounds, and it includes things such as what sounds are often in language and what sounds can or can't be next to each other. Phonology is the study of language sound systems, and it includes what sounds contrast in some languages but not others, and how people match speech to music. Morphology is the study of word structure. Syntax is the study of sentences and paragraphs, and semantics is the study of meaning. Next, I'm going to be talking about the links between language and thought. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is also known as linguistic relativism, and it says that language and thought are connected. It has two versions. The weak version says that language influences thought, and it's agreed upon by most linguists. However, the strong version states that language determines thought, and it's fallen into disuse for pretty obvious reasons. The influence of language isn't so much what we think about, but rather how we think about things. In some languages, all words are given a gender. These languages are called gendered languages. In 2003, three linguists published the result of an experiment on the effects of thought of gendered languages. The researchers showed Spanish and German speakers pictures of the same object, which had a different grammatical gender in each language. When the object was assigned a male noun, traditionally male qualities assigned to it. And when the object was assigned a female noun, traditionally female qualities were assigned to it. For example, German speakers described the moon, del Monde, as forceful, omnipotent, and rugged, while Spanish speakers described the moon, or luna, as dainty, beautiful, and nurturing. Toba is a language which has different ways to classify a noun based on its direction, such as upright or on its side. This means that Toba speakers are more spatially aware, because that's what's required for them to simply communicate. Next, I'll be talking about the main focus of this project, linguistics and fiction. First, I'll talk about automatic translators. There are two types of automatic translators: known-to-known translators and unknown-to-known translators. Known-to-known translators automatically translate from a known language to a known language, like Google Translate. Known-to-known translators are relatively feasible, even though they're currently not that good. The better known-to-known translators may emerge because of the rise of artificial intelligence. The other type of automatic translator, unknown-to-known translators, translate from a known language to an unknown one, or vice versa. They're pretty unfeasible as languages are closed systems. That is, if you know a few words and sentences in a language, you can only figure out a few more words and sentences that are related. One quirk about the depiction of unknown-to-known translators in science fiction is that the larger they are, the longer they take to translate. Talking animals have been interesting to humans for millennia. Even ancient literature literature is filled with examples of talking animals, and the talking animal has been called one of the classic myth ingredients of science fiction. Earlier science fiction often used more accessible animals, such as dogs, which often used telepathy to allow them to communicate easily with humans without bringing it over the word limit for that type of story. However, no animals that we generally think of as possibly communicating with humans, such as apes or dolphins, can speak human languages due to differences in anatomy. However, it is possible that they could use a nonverbal language, such as some chimpanzees who have been taught to sign language. In addition to that, other animals could potentially have a native nonverbal language. For example, Ursula K. Le Guin's short story shows a rat placed in a maze who is glad to be able to communicate in the normal way for rats, that is, a language of movement, to moving its body to communicate. The idea of communication with dolphins began to gain popularity because of the experimental psychologist John C. Lilly's work, Man and Dolphin, written in 1981, which, in its preface, claims that humans would establish communications with some other species within a few decades. Most credible journals were skeptical about it, but many popular magazines and much of the science fiction field were enthusiastic about it. In chapter 5 of the book, Lilly states that he thought that he heard human words in dolphin vocalizations. However, several of his colleagues did not think that they were words. Lilly could recognize the sounds as words best when he slowed down the recordings to a quarter the speed. Combined with the fact that dolphins have 2 sound-producing organs, it led to the myth that dolphins talk 8 times as fast as humans. Changes in language can be used in science fiction as a plot device to detail world or to mirror the culture. However, many science fiction authors make false statements about the history of languages, such as English, in their stories, and many time travel stories lack major language changes, even when the characters travel thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years into the future. In addition to that, words that describe changes in language often have strong negative connotations, such as the word corrupt and debased when referring to changes in the language. So as you can see, language change could be used well in the story, but it often isn't. There are several ways that linguistics has been used in fiction. For example, Arrival's plot is mostly based around decoding the alien language, and it includes the effects of language around that. My story also includes language decoding as a major plot element. Another important example is Lord of the Rings, as it has a linguistic basis. In fact, the Silmarillion, the first book written by Tolkien but published posthumously, was primarily linguistic in inspiration and was begun in order to provide the necessary background of history for the Elvish tongues. In addition to that, 1984 by George Orwell included the effect of language on thought because newspeak, the language of the fictional government, was designed to prevent rebellious thoughts by removing the words for them from the dictionary. For my practical application, I wrote a story that includes elements of linguistics. It's about aliens who travel to Earth many thousands of years after humans, many thousands of years after humans have all gone into cryogenic freezing, and one accidentally awakens a human, and they have to figure out how to communicate. It's the third, and the part that includes the linguistic elements is the third part of the story that I'd written the first part of last semester. The second part isn't finished yet, but I'm hoping to finish it over the summer. If you'd like to read it, you should put your name and email on the list that started being handed around at the beginning, and I'll send it to you as soon as possible. Okay. One thing that I did well was that I found a book to get tons of information, and like at least half of my information is from that book. However, what the guy didn't do so well is that I didn't have an interview, so I didn't get some extra information that I could have gotten from it. One piece of advice that I'd give to people doing a passion project, any passion project, is to schedule the interview way earlier and to hopefully find somebody who has more than 1 hour per week that they can talk with you. Okay, so bibliography part 1, part 2, and my images. Does anybody have any questions?
First of all,
What do you feel about the use of a universal translator as a plot device? Like, do you think that it's a little bit of a cheat, or?
I think that usually, I think that in stories involving new languages, it seems like a cheat, but in stories involving the contact of different species after a while of them being together, it just helpful and means that you can do the story with less interruption. So it just really depends on the context. Any other questions? Hey, Melissa.
at the beginning of your presentation, you talked about languages that are gender-based, that have grammatical gender, and then you said languages that have spatial.
Yeah. I'm
interested. What are these languages?
A kind of languages have a grammatical gender. It's really common.
That I'm familiar with. I mean about the spatial ones.
Like Toba has different words for different and orientations. And there's one language I forget the name of, but that instead of doing front and back and left and right and things like that, uses north and south and east and west. So, well, what and this doesn't and language. Languages with things that might seem really weird to us, but that are normal to people who speak that language. Okay, Danny?
In your story, you said that somebody wakes up accidentally and has to speak with. Are they speaking with people in the future?
No, they're speaking with aliens who have traveled from their planet, and you should read it to find out.
The story is set in the future, right?
What?
The story is set in the future. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have to read it to find out.
Okay.
Ella, what was your inspiration for choosing this genre of writing, this story that you wrote?
Because I really like science fiction, and I also like words. And linguistics is pretty common in science fiction.
All right, thank you very much.